What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NY Prepper. It is Thursday, December 11th, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 23:03 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Russia. So, the Pentagon confirmed today that Russia is preparing to launch another experimental missile at Ukraine. The Deputy Pentagon Press Secretary Sabrina Singh said today that it's possible that Russia could do it in the coming days. Okay, so U.S. intelligence indicating that Russia is preparing to launch another ICBM at Ukraine. This is something that I've been warning you guys about for the past few weeks, and this time it could potentially be nuclear tipped. And there's currently two NOTAM warnings. These are warnings to pilots. They're known as notice to airmen, and they're over the Kapustin Yar missile test site in Russia. This is the same thing that Russia did the first time they launched an ICBM at Ukraine. The first NOTAM is valid on December the 12th through the 13th from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. local time. And the second NOTAM is valid from December 16th to the 21st at the same time each day, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. local time. So that would be next week, all week. And this would be from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern time. So, guys, I will be monitoring the situation. I will be live every night next week and tomorrow night and Friday night to monitor the situation. I'll be in the 24/7 stream, keeping an eye on everything. And if anything happens, I will cover it live. And the Russian Defense Ministry said today that Ukraine launched another attack with Western long-range missiles on Russian soil yesterday, stating that the attack on an oil refinery in Taganrog last night was the result of ATACMS missiles. And here we have an article from Reuters. Okay, headline says Russia vows response after Ukraine used U.S.-made ATACMS to strike airfield. Russia said on Wednesday that Ukraine had struck a military airfield on the Azov Sea with 6 U.S.-made ATACMS ballistic missiles, a move that could prompt Moscow to launch another experimental intermediate-range hypersonic missile at Ukraine. Russia's defense ministry said 2 of the missiles fired by Ukraine were shot down by a Pantsir air defense system, and the rest were destroyed by electronic warfare, supposedly. On the morning of December 11th, 2024, the Kyiv regime launched a missile strike with Western precision weapons at the Taganrog military airfield in the Rostov region, the defense ministry said. This attack by Western long-range weapons will not go unanswered, and appropriate measures will be taken, it said. So remember, guys, Putin said when he went to Kazakhstan for the CSTO meeting that the Russian army was currently selecting targets, and they may even hit decision-making centers in Kyiv, okay? And they also revised the nuclear doctrine, okay? Putin signed a decree revising the Russian nuclear doctrine, allowing Russia to use nuclear weapons against non-nuclear states if those states are being supported by a nuclear state, okay? So don't be surprised if during this next strike, there's going to be nuclear warheads attached to these missiles, okay? And maybe Putin is going to give Ukraine a nuclear Christmas present. And tonight, actually, loud explosions were heard again in Taganrog, also in Kursk, possibly more Western missile strikes in Russia. And a Ukrainian drone hit the building of an internal security regiment in Grozny, Chechnya, in Russia. This happens to be one of Kadyrov's special internal security forces. Wow. Okay, so Ukraine hitting Kadyrov's special police with a drone. And I saw the video footage of this drone attack, and it's pretty substantial. Okay, not a little drone, huge explosion. Okay. And the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine claims that they have attacked a fuel distribution station at the Druzhba pipeline in the Bryansk region of Russia. This was yesterday. So the Druzhba pipeline is a pipeline that feeds natural gas into Hungary, Slovakia, and Europe. Okay, so Ukraine hitting a distribution station. Wow. And the Kremlin confirmed today that Putin and Orban discussed the situation in Ukraine in a phone call today. And after the phone call, Orban said, quote, "These are the most dangerous weeks of the Russian-Ukrainian war." Wow. Okay, so it sounds to me like Orban was trying to beg Putin not to nuke Ukraine and not to escalate any further. That's what it sounds like to me. And then after the call, he said that these are the most dangerous weeks of the war. And the Ukrainian army is reportedly preparing a surprise for Putin to boost the morale of Ukrainians before the new year. So I'm hearing reports that Ukraine is planning another offensive in Zaporizhia. And we have some new information on the mysterious drones in New Jersey. Apparently, these drones are coming from an Iranian mothership off the coast of New Jersey. This has not been officially confirmed by the U.S. government, but a Republican lawmaker here in the U.S. said that he had sources that there's an Iranian ship off the coast of New Jersey, and these drones are being launched from that ship. Also, the large mysterious drones reported flying over parts of New Jersey in recent weeks appear to avoid detection by traditional methods such as helicopter and radio, according to a state lawmaker briefed Wednesday by the Department of Homeland Security. In a post on the social media platform X, Assemblywoman Dawn Fantasia described the drones as up to 6 feet in diameter and sometimes traveling with their lights switched off. The Morris County Republican was among several state and local lawmakers who met with state police and Homeland Security officials to discuss the spate of sightings that range from the New York City area through New Jersey and westward into parts of Pennsylvania, including over Philadelphia. The devices do not appear to be being flown by hobbyists, Fantasia wrote. 2 Republican Jersey Shore area congressmen, U.S. Representatives Chris Smith and Jeff Van Drew, have called on the military to shoot down the drones. Smith said a Coast Guard commanding officer briefed him on an incident over the weekend in which a dozen drones followed a motorized Coast Guard lifeboat in close pursuit near the Barnegat Light and Island Beach State Park in Ocean County, New Jersey. Wow. So this Coast Guard lifeboat was pursued by a dozen drones. Coast Guard Lieutenant Luke Pinillo told the Associated Press on Wednesday that multiple low-altitude aircraft were observed in the vicinity of one of our vessels near Island Beach State Park. The aircraft weren't perceived as an immediate threat and didn't disrupt operations, Pinillo said. The Coast Guard is assisting the FBI and state agencies in investigating. In a letter to U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, Smith called for military help in dealing with the drones, noting that Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst has the capability to identify and take down unauthorized unmanned aerial systems. However, Pentagon spokeswoman Sabrina Singh told reporters Wednesday that, quote, "Our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary," which I think is a bunch of BS. Okay, so Sabrina Singh denying that this is a foreign entity. I mean, who else could it be? Okay, a 6-foot drone, guys. You cannot buy a 6-foot drone. That is massive. Okay, and they're switching their lights off as well. Republican Assemblyman Eric Peterson, whose district includes parts of the state where the drones have been reported, said he also attended Wednesday's meeting at a state police facility in West Trenton. The session lasted for about 90 minutes. Peterson said DHS officials were generous with their time, but appeared dismissive of some concerns, saying not all the sightings reported have been confirmed to involve drones. Wow, so this is crazy, guys. DHS basically downplaying it, the U.S. military downplaying it, or they're just basically trying to hide the truth. Okay, they don't want the truth to get out. And Taiwan said that it detected 16 Chinese warships around the island today and over 30 Chinese warplanes. China is doing a massive exercise through the rest of the week involving practicing a blockade of Taiwan and fighting off any external support. And apparently, STRATCOM, U.S. Strategic Command, is preparing for an imminent North Korean missile test. And the Iraqi military has begun digging trenches and constructing defensive fortifications along the border with Syria. This is reportedly to prevent armed groups from crossing the border. Very interesting. And Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, said Iran has evidence that the toppling of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad was a result of a plan by the U.S., Israel, and one of Syria's neighbors that he did not name. Okay, so obviously they're going to blame the U.S. and Israel. And the Syrian prime minister said that Bashar al-Assad secretly fled to Moscow without notifying anyone, including his own government and the prime minister. Wow, so he fled like a rat with his tail between his legs. And Trump invited Chinese dictator Xi Jinping to the inauguration. Wow, I wonder if Xi Jinping is going to show up. And Trump is reportedly considering appointing Richard Grenell as a special envoy for Iran. I want to just share some flight paths with you guys. So earlier this afternoon, we had U.S. nuclear forces on high alert again. We had 2 nuclear war command and control planes, a nuclear bomber. We also had a combat scent airborne. And we only have 2 of these in the military. So if one of them is flying somewhere, it means something serious is going on. Last night, we had Putin's presidential plane and some airborne command posts airborne over Moscow. Very interesting. Putin's presidential plane took off from Vnukovo Airport, and then it went north and looped around and came back to Moscow, almost as if he was spooked by something. And we also had a U.S. reconnaissance plane moved to Mildenhall in the UK from Offutt Air Base. Offutt Air Base is home of U.S. Strategic Command. So this is a high priority strategic level reconnaissance plane that was moved to the UK last night. So they're obviously going to be observing something in Europe or the Middle East that is of strategic importance. Okay. And here's a picture of the IAEA vehicle that was hit by a Russian drone, I think it was, or missile, right outside of Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. This is the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. So that is very concerning, guys. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be monitoring the situation every night. Starting tomorrow night, it looks like Russia is planning another Oreshnik strike on Ukraine. It could potentially be nuclear this time. If not, it's definitely going to be some kind of a serious strike targeting probably Zelensky or the Ukrainian government, VIPs. Okay, Putin himself said they would go after decision-making centers next time. But I will be back tomorrow with more breaking news. And until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere.